Hello, beautiful souls. It's Lisa Driver, and in today's video, I'm sharing an exercise and some insight from my third book, Boundaries and Bucket Filling. Now, I thought this would be perfect since, as you can see by my little earrings, we're in the holiday season. We're kind of in the thick of it, and as empaths, this can be a very overwhelming time of year. Not only are we triggered by the people we miss, by the people we may have lost, by the people we may be estranged from, all of that distance, whether it's physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, can really weigh on our sensitive hearts. But it's also a time where the calendar is jam-packed. And as empaths, recovering people pleasers, achievement addicts, those triggers to show up for other people and to give can be very, very strong. Now, as a worthiness expert and someone who works with women to really heal that sense of lack within, I thought that what better book out of the four of my titles than Boundaries this time of year. And I flipped it open right before I hit record. And I always do this. I love to just intend that the angels guide me to what message is needed for you watching right now, no matter if you're watching this long after December. And I flipped to page 80. So if you have your copy of Boundaries and Bucket Filling, you can follow along. You can get your copies at driverworks.ca, signed copies, or by emailing me at spiritualhealing1111@gmail.com, and I can ship them to you. The page that I flipped to comes right after an exercise where we've really worked a little bit with our inner child. We've done a meditation to honor that little version of us. And I do a lot of this work in my healing practice and in my workshops and retreats. And I have a lot of these similar exercises working with that inner, smaller, more vulnerable version, because as empaths, that's really a big part of us, right? We've got this big heart that we wear on our sleeves, and some of our traumas from our past, from our upbringing, the things that our parents didn't know as they raised us, or that we didn't know as we were out in this big, scary world, can really come back to kind of trigger us in the now. So it's important that we become aware of it and heal it. The exercise in this book in particular talks about the negative voices we use. And I really want to get into it because this time of year, with that busyness, with that, especially for women, that sort of pressure to be the magic makers, it can feel like a lot. And it can feel like a lot on top of a life that's already a lot. There's already a lot of minutia, especially if you're a mom, but even if you're just an empathic woman in the world, there can be a lot of things on your plate. So I want to read a little bit of an excerpt for you and just jog your self-awareness a little bit this time of year so that you're more aware of the words you're using, especially when it comes to talking about yourself. So it says, most of us as we age, we begin to learn right from wrong and begin to filter out the fun and take life more seriously, driven to succeed and make it in a world that values money, materialism, and other measurables that don't necessarily have anything to do with true happiness. And just as a side note, this is why my fourth book is called Magnetize a Soulful Life, and why I have my Soulful Sisterhood on Facebook. It's a beautiful, private, intimate group. Because living soulfully is living for those little joys. And yes, money can be a part of that, but those simple joys that just make you happy. So I go on to say, when you heal your concept of fun and heal the past patterns that are holding you back, especially those that exist in your mind, then you let the universe know you're ready for more, and opportunities begin to arrive as if by magic into your world. This acknowledgement of where you come from is key in moving forward, especially when letting go of thoughts of unworthiness or struggle. When I first began sending love to my inner child, I came to the swift realization that my patterns around money were outdated and inhibiting my sense of worth. Now, it's a common insight I've shared with many of my clients, most of who also struggle with the idea of abundance. So many of my clients, like me, found it almost impossible to dream or even visualize a future where they didn't have to exert major effort or energy to make things happen for them. So then I go on to talk about where those patterns come from. And if you're interested in that, my fourth book is really where it's at. So I say, when I discovered the law of attraction, something clicked. I knew that I didn't want to just make do and recognized that my mindset had to change so I could begin attracting more to be grateful for. As I did so, I knew that the money would come and my needs would be met. In order to welcome this in and open up my mind to dream bigger, I had to stop listening to that belittling voice within. What does that voice tell you? And there's a space here where you can really write that. And I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what that voice is telling you now. The pressures, the shoulds is a big, big chapter in You Are Enough. The way we should ourselves all the time. And there's exercises in boundaries, but also in You Are Enough to help you silence that voice, to heal that voice, to understand where that voice is really coming from. And that's what I wanted to kind of put out there for you today. Where is this version of you that thinks it's okay to speak to yourself this way, no matter the time of year, no matter what's going on or what you're feeling pressured to do or not do? Where does that come from? And how can you honor that and love that little version of yourself and just let it go? It's a great time of year to declutter. We're heading towards a new year, literally flipping the page on the calendar. There's nothing like a fresh start. I'm a big believer in making sure you don't put too much pressure on yourself to plant seeds in the frozen ground, because here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's a time of rest. It's a time of internal asking and reflection. However, I also recognize that society has this new momentum and it's fresh and it feels great and it's exciting. So it's a balance between that. I always liken it to a really great opportunity to set some new goals for the spring, to get some really great ideas, to declutter and make room. And then when that weather starts to warm up, March, maybe April or May, depending on where you live, you can really start taking some of that small momentum that you've built over January, February, and rolling with it and creating wonderful things as the buds on the trees come and the flowers grow. Now, if you want some guidance for 2024 to help you feel more worthy, feel kinder to yourself, be open to all of that goodness that 2024 has the potential to bring you, I am doing a worthiness healing and forecasting event in January. Make sure you've signed up to my newsletter in the comments below. You're also going to get notified of when my first podcast drops. It is in the works, I promise. Something behind the scenes I'm working on, just trying to get a few things in order before we share it with the universe. But I'm very excited to be sharing some healing meditations through that. And in this forecast event, I'll be sending out details through my newsletter. I won't spam you, I promise, but I'm very excited to share that guidance on what you can expect and what you can work on and focus on each month of 2024. It's one of my favorite events that I do, and this year it's really going to have a focus on worthiness, feeling enough, feeling open. How can we get out of our own way so that the universe can co-create with us to bring us more goodness, to help us have stronger boundaries, to fill our buckets and shine for all those that are blessed to know us. I'm so excited to share that with you guys. Make sure you've signed up, tell your friends, and I'll see you guys next time here on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you're at. Love ya.